Hey everyone, I am Robin the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth. And today we are going to talk about direct mail postcard examples. Okay, quite the mouthful. Now I have a whole bunch of samples that I'm going to hold up that I've been gathering in my mail. So I've got to put this guy down in order to show you those things. So let me do that and then we'll get back to it. Stewie's totally fine. He's now directing. So, okay, we'll see how that goes. So first of all, direct mail postcards. You might be thinking, what? You know, you're always talking about website copywriting and email marketing and social media and all that sort of stuff on my little channel here. And that's true. And digital content is a big part of what I do. And it's a big part of copywriting and just marketing in general. But guess what? There's still a place for print. And print still works. Print is still used. And if you ever look in your mailbox, I'm sure you get what you consider junk mail. Or you get some of those advertisements, as my mother would say, or my grandmother, advertisements in the mail, direct mail pieces, postcards, things like that. Here's the thing. It can actually be really effective, especially for small businesses, to use direct mail because I definitely get less junk mail than my parents did back in the day. And that's just because everything has shifted to an online world. So our email inboxes, of course, are inundated with what we consider junk mail and just lots of stuff. But our snail mailboxes are a little less cluttered. So if you do send a good direct mail piece and there's a good message and a good offer and all that sort of good stuff, it could stand out and work well for your clients. So that brings us to the next point. Who is direct mail for? Who does it work well for? It can work for business to consumers really well because you're sending a direct mail piece to someone's home usually. You could send it to businesses as well. So a B2C type of business is what you're thinking about. So some examples. Your local dentist office. If they are in the neighborhood, maybe it's a new dentist office that's opening, or maybe it's one that's recently changed ownership or something like that, they could do a direct mail piece out to consumers in the area, households in the area saying, hey, we're your friendly neighborhood dentist and it's not scary and really you should get your teeth cleaned twice a year, that sort of thing. And send out a nice direct mail piece. Maybe there's an offer, something like that. That's a good example. Local eateries, you know, your pizza joints and burger joints and all sorts of things like that. You know, that can be a great use for direct mail. Any sort of small business in the area can be a great way to reach the masses. Now Stewie is waving and saying, come on, get on with it. So we're going to get on with it. Okay, so I have 4 pieces that I'm going to share. And I didn't save them because that they were necessarily great or not great or anything like that. We're just going to look at them together and see what we think. And I'm going to show you what goes into it. Because if you are a freelance copywriter and you're working with small businesses, and oftentimes if you're new, you will be working with probably small businesses in your area, this can be a great thing that you can recommend. And the way it works is you need someone to write the words, you need someone to design the piece. Now, if you have any sort of design chops, great. You know, you could possibly write the piece and design the piece. I find that lots of younger copywriters, I'm not talking about necessarily new copywriters, but people on the younger side often come with those multiple skill sets, and that's great. So if you can design and do the copy, awesome. Otherwise, you might bring a graphic designer into the mix, and then you will work with a mail house to actually do the physical mailing. So they will come up with the list, and you can target based on like age and gender and income and things like that. They can help you narrow down the list so it fits your budget. I also believe the U.S. Postal Service, don't quote me on this, but in the past, I think they had some sort of mailing that you could do turnkey through them. So there are probably different avenues you can do it. I usually, when I'm working with a client, I'm just providing the copy. There are other people managing the accounts, so there are other people taking care of those aspects. But I do know that there are some programs out there, so something to keep in mind. Okay, Stewie, I'm getting to it. So here's our first piece. Hopefully you can see this. Now, I recorded this video once already and my head was cut off because I want to make sure you guys can see this. So we'll see how this goes. But looking for senior living with a little sizzle? You might be wondering, okay, why is she getting that? And you know what? When I first was looking at this, I was wondering that too. This was actually sent to Mr. Word Nerd, my partner. And he's only 1.5 years older than I am, but apparently once you hit 50, you start getting the senior living advertising. Here's the thing, that's actually not a bad idea for this, because I actually work with a senior living marketing firm, and this isn't necessarily I'm not a bad person to target, is what I'm trying to say, because even though I'm 50, independent living, it often attracts the 50 plus crowd, 55 plus crowd. So they're trying to get me young, but they might also be thinking, well, if she's in her 50s, she might have parents who might need senior living. So I do fall into probably their target demo, I'm sad to say. Anyhow, let's look at this. So this caught my attention. First of all, this is called an oversized postcard. Oftentimes when you think postcards, we think of the ones that, people send us when they're on vacation, but this is an oversized postcard. I did measure it, and I forget what the dimensions are, but you can see oversized. The reason why it really grabbed my attention was this nice sizzling piece of, grilling going here, because I was thinking, ooh, it's a new restaurant opening in town, tell me about it. And, it worked, it got my attention. And then I saw the senior living thing. But still, I think this works well. The front of your direct mail postcard should be something as simple as this. You're going to want to have a dynamic picture, a headline, or a gripping, compelling line. They have their branding, which I think is fine. It's promoting the senior living community, and some details because they're promoting an event. That's all you need. You want to keep it simple. You don't want a lot of words. People skim. Now think of yourself when you're going through your mail. You're just, you're flipping through. So it has to catch their eye, make them stop. Clear message. All right. I actually recommend less copy on direct mail pieces on both sides. So I think they did a great job on this side. Now we're going to look at the back and see how they did there. So flipsy. I hope that this is rendering correctly. I think it is, but I'll find out in post editing. This is where the mailing information happens. So you have to leave space for the address, and they have their logo, which I think is fine for branding. Here's the interesting piece. I think this might be a little bit too busy. You can see all the text that they have there. It's all relevant, and I get it, but there's a lot, and people just don't read. You're asking a lot to have people read. And this bottom little piece here, it says, learn how residents craft one-of-a-kind senior living experiences. I don't even know if that's necessary, because what they're trying to do is they're promoting an event, like a little cookout that's free, that you can just come and experience. People are going to experience this. Like, people love free food. Like, this is actually a really great way to get people to come to senior living communities. Free food is great, and people are concerned about the food when they move into communities. So it makes sense. It's a really smart idea. I think they could lose this and then move everything down and have more room for this block of text here, so doesn't feel like a block of text. They could space it out differently so that I just feel like you can take a breath better. The QR code is something that's very popular these days. Jury is still out for me as to how effective they are, if it's a little bit too trendy or gimmicky. And I do kind of wonder for this audience, like if they're sending it to people north of 50, because I was like, oh, I got a QR code I have to scan. Such a pain in the butt. I'm just not programmed for that. I know the youngins are. So I kind of wonder, in this case, they're using it as an RSVP, so it could be effective. So like to really kind of capture someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm interested in going, and they, do the phone thing, and now they're on that senior living community's radar big time, so they can continue to send text messages and stuff like that. It could be effective. So anyway, we got the front. Again, oversized postcard. I think this works well. And you got your back. And if you are a freelance copywriter working on copy for a client, you're going to be providing all of this copy. And when I do that, I'm a very visual person. Even though I don't design, I am visual. So I will actually kind of do a very down and dirty mock-up, as I call it, of a postcard so the client can kind of visualize, like, okay, the headline's going to go over here. There'll be a dynamic image, and then I'll even break it up. So I'll be like, here's where the copy is, and this is, where the postage and the mail information, the address, all that. So, but you could just do a Word doc with the copy and be like, front of postcard, back of postcard, and people can usually visualize it. But you'll be working closely with the designer too to kind of bring your vision to life. So there's example number 1. Yes, Stewie, I'm getting to example number 2. All right, he wanted to get to this example because he likes this one. So this is from wine.com. Hopefully you can see this. So, lest you think this is all I do, because I know I joke about it a lot, but I do enjoy wine. But I received a wine.com gift card from a client for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I only recently cashed it in because I'm in a house now and I actually have a wine rack like a grown-up. Only took 50 years. So now I'm on their mailing list and I get the emails and I get the direct mail pieces. So first of all, look at this. I mean, you can't feel it, but you probably can see this is like really heavy stock compared to this, which is a little bit more typical, a little floppier and stuff. So they put some money into this because this ain't cheap. And you know what? It works. That's actually smart now that I'm saying that. Like, there's substantial copy, sophisticated. Like, it's not like your average, direct mail piece or your average junk mail. So it's a nice stock, great image. I mean, anyone who's into wine, like I just, I'm like, ooh, and then the crusty bread. Now, here's the thing. This is where it's okay to sip around. Woohoo! Are they trying to be naughty with that? Because when I first read that, I'm like, ooh, it's okay to sleep around. I don't know if that's what they were going for. And of course, my mind just went in that direction. Or if they're just saying like, oh, it's okay to sip from different glasses or to like try red and white. So it caught my attention. So regardless, I think they're doing something provocative here, and my mind went one way, your mind might go another, but I think it works. Caught my attention. It's a really nice picture. Anyone who's into wine is probably going to appreciate it. Doesn't, it has both red and white, has the offers. So we have a good incentive here. We have, some savings. Who doesn't like to save, especially when they're ordering wine? Again, I think the front looks good. That's about as much. So you might be thinking, that's all I have to provide is a headline. Yeah, headlines are hard though. Like you have to accomplish a lot in like 6 to 8 words. So when I provide headlines to clients for, direct mail pieces and email subject lines, I usually do a bunch, and then we kind of figure out from there which one we like best. So now here's the back, and again, address, area. They have the coupon information, and then I think this works. I'm not going to read the text, but you might be like, well, this one has a block of text and the other one had a block of text, but you didn't like the other one. I think this is easier to read. There's just something about the font and the spacing, so it's not so overwhelming as this. I don't know now if you're going to be able to see everything. So I think that this works. The copy's good. What I'll try to do is take an image of this and put it in the blog post so you can read it. But I thought this worked well. Definitely got my attention, substantial, all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, send me wine. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. Send me wine too, or wine.com gift cards. Okay, Stewie saying time's a ticking. So here's something I get from Citizens Bank fairly regularly. I get this little fold-up postcard. So it looks like this. It does get my attention just because it's like, all right, we humans, we want to open, we want to look inside, just to be like, we're not missing anything, fear of missing out. So it does work. I also, with anything banking wise, I always open it up because they also include like QR codes and other codes, and I worry about someone pilfering my recycle bin and using that, and I don't know if it's associated with my name and opening up accounts. So I do worry about that. I do find I get these so often. It's like, I'm not going to change my bank, but whatever. I think it works. Like, the problem with financial clients is there's like so much like legalese you have to include. So they have to include all this fine print, and they have limitations as to what they can say and stuff. But I think, if you can get up to $600 just for switching banks, I'm sure this probably does work for a lot of people, because especially people who aren't married to the bank that they use, they might be willing to be like, yeah, I'll switch banks, or I'll start a new bank account. Sure, why not? But I wanted to show you this more, I think, for like, just to show you there are different options. So like when you say direct mail postcards, it doesn't have to necessarily be a postcard. It could actually be like a mailer, like something like this. All right. At the beginning of the video, I don't know if I talked about this, but direct response copywriting is a thing, and it's still a big thing. That's the longer form copy that you get in the mail. It might be a longer sales letter. Sometimes it's those packages you get that has a sales letter, and then it has like little pieces and flyers, and sometimes you get mailing labels for free and things like that. That's a very specialized type of copywriting. The copywriters who do that, like there are some copywriters, that's all they do. But often what'll happen is they will get a cut of the sales, known as royalties. If you go to AWAI, I'm sure they have some courses or some blog posts or articles on direct response copywriting. I'm going to show you an example of that just so you see what I mean. I don't do this sort of copywriting, but it can be extremely lucrative for people who do and who are good at it. So this is from, things are falling here. This was from AAA. Now AAA sends me one of these things like every single week, and I'm not kidding because of my age. And it comes in a big package like this, so it catches my attention in my mailbox because it's like, all right, what is this? Is it important? Do I have to pay attention? Just oversized stuff does work, and it's sealed. Got to open it. And then they're trying to sell me life insurance with this. So lots of pieces that are falling on my floor right now. But we got little pieces like this. We got the actual application, which is long and like it's big, so you have to kind of pay attention to it. You got that, and then you got this direct response letter, and the reason why I wanted to show you this is like classic direct response copywriting. The format with, I don't even know where it starts here. Page 1. So like, just the formatting, the bolding, takes only 5 minutes to fill out. Like if you were to actually get into direct response copywriting or take any courses on this is what you'd be writing. And it's long. Like someone has to write all these words, and it's effective in that it's a volume thing. Like they might send out, 100,000 of these pieces. I'm kind of making the numbers up, but and if only 1 or 2% convert, it's still worthwhile because of what they're selling, and then the writer gets royalties. I don't know if that's the case for this particular AAA is doing that, but often it is. I can't speak if that's what's happening here. I kind of suspect, but maybe they have writers on staff who are doing this. So, but this is an option if you love long form content and the sales copy, and you're good at that, and you can study and learn how to do it because it is a formula. Everything that they do here, that can be extremely lucrative. So I don't even know if this video is still like going, but we're going to come back to the sloth anyway. So direct response or direct mail copywriting is something that you can recommend to especially your small business clients if they're in the area and they want to reach people, in addition to their other, marketing tactics that they do. It can be a bit of a pricey investment, so you want to be careful and just be mindful of budgets. The urology practice that I do a lot of work for will do direct mailers when there's a new doctor who comes on board to the area to say, hey, new doctor has joined us accepting patients, so that can be extremely effective. And occasionally we'll actually do direct mailers to some of the like primary care physicians in the area because they often refer to specialists like urologists. So that's another avenue, and that would be an example of a business-to-business copywriting for postcards. Boy, I'm not talking very well today, but you get the idea, right? Right. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Again, I am Robin the Copy Bitch. This is Stewie, my sidekick sloth, and we will see you next time.